Alright, per request, I'm going to try to make a better video. This is a powerline 426. Safety's on. Tell that it's functioning. There's where you load it. You put a CO2 in. Alright, here we go. We're gonna disassemble this thing. I'm gonna try to keep it all in frame and keep my hands out of the way. Alright, so anyway, let's pull the plastic bottom off. I have modified this gun a little bit, but it shouldn't affect the disassembly video. I have pulled this screw out already, kind of testing my video. I'm going to try to keep it right in the middle of this frame. Alright, here we go. I'm just using a little magnet to keep a hold of my screws. I have taken this thing apart many times, so I had to replace the screw here with a bigger screw. So you gotta keep your finger on it, on the front of the gun. I put a bigger screw in there because I had stripped it out, but here we go. This is spring loaded. You're gonna get 2 springs, the barrel spring and the magazine spring. Ooh, it's gonna come apart. I don't want it to do that yet. Okay, so there is a difference on how this thing sits inside the front of it. There's a more coiled area, and that seems to sit right there on that little like divot. But this is like probably one of the first things you do and one of the last things you'll do. All right, so we've got the screws. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. Of course, this hole that I stripped. All right, there's the safety. You can leave it in this side, which is fine. It does sit in there a specific way. There's like a little, well, let's just set it off to the side. There's no other pieces on the screw area, so I'm going to set this down to the edge of the frame. Alright, so here we go. This thing sits with the color end down. There is a little notch kind of aimed towards the back of the gun. Okay, let's go ahead and set that off to the side. Okay. There's this thing right here. Here's the barrel. Okay, wait a minute. Let's get this piece off here. This is what rides and pushes the BBs into the hole. I'm going to set that next to the spring right there. Kind of a little bit of finesse and we get the barrel out. Alright, so here's our barrel. I'd like to know, the first time I took one of these apart, there's like one kind of like divoted piece of that. I don't know if I'm getting that in frame very well. It's a little odd. The other side sees a little more smooth. The smooth side goes down, and I honestly don't think that that matters, but I mean, just in the interest of making it the way it was, there you go. Anyway, I haven't taken any of this apart any further. There's just a smooth bore barrel. I'm going to kind of leave that piece on there. I don't see the need to take that off there. Let's set that over there at the edge of the frame. Okay, so I'm still here in the frame. Alright, I don't know if I really need to take this apart. I mean, I can. Here, we'll come back to this piece in a second. Let's go. Alright, where mine's going to differ is right here. This piece. I have cut the back of this housing off and taken basically what's like a plug out of that center area and tap and dyed it and put in a cap, and then also elongated spring, mostly because I don't like it when the gas leaks out. There's a little spring in here that's really hard to orientate, but once you get the hang of it, it works out pretty good. But this piece is altered. Let's go ahead and disassemble it. I will note here that the screws are different. The plastic screws are more aggressive, the ones that sink into the plastic holes. These ones are more fine. So I'm going to set them in a different place. When I cut this off, I did lose the area, a screw. I'm trying to stay out of the frame as much as possible. So an untouched gun will have 4. There'll be another one right here. All right, here's this piece. Now, if you take just the part off where the screw heads are, it'll come straight up and it won't alter anything. Here's this piece. I don't know if you call this the valve area. Whoa, here you go. This piece just kind of rides in there. There's a flat spot. It goes around the edge of the CO2. I have marked it up a little bit. There's tool marks on mine. And this little piece comes out that pushes against there and releases the gas. Anyway, inside here is a spring and the piece that sits on the edge of that spring. And the inside of here just depresses that. This thing's on here. It's just a cap. I tap and dyed it, but that's not really what this video is about. So somebody had taken theirs apart and they wanted a more detailed view on how to put it back together. Oh, this piece pushes the bottom of the CO2. Okay, let me see if we can zoom in on this one. There you go. So there's this little teeny area. This bends in like this, and this just comes straight up. Now there is a spring that catches this little notch, and there is a pin, a very small pin. See if we can show you those pieces. It does fit on a specific way. Alright. See if I can get some light in there. So we can get different angles of that spring so you can kind of see it. Okay. That's those pieces. We'll set them next to the screws. Break pieces apart. Trade places with the other piece. Okay, here's the trigger mechanism. It does have kind of it's a plastic trigger. You can kind of see it just rides. You've got a spring in here. Part of that spring, let me see here. Part of that spring sits right there. There is a pin right here that the trigger swivels on and pushes down on this other, I don't know, mechanism. I don't really know the technical names of this stuff, so if you want to judge me, now would be a great time. This other spring just sits in there Maybe better if I pointed with this. Just rides up above there. So here's the spring. This is the trigger spring. Sorry, getting used to having a camera. Maybe I can get some light. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get some light in there. Okay. This is the bottom part right here that sits in the bottom, and this is the one where it sits next to the trigger. This is the one that sits next to the. Okay, this part sits next to the trigger, and this is the bottom part. It's like kind of an L shape. It goes inside. Here we go. Here is the pin. So I guess that would be the trigger pin. And then here's our trigger. I guess this piece might even come apart. I don't know the purpose of taking that piece apart, but okay, I guess you could force that out of there, out of the trigger. Okay, last but not least, some sort of catch. Looks like it's got just a coil spring, and that one's pretty much on there, so I don't see the point of really taking that off. I mean, it'd probably just pop back on. It's kind of like a pivot. Here, let me see if I can hold the piece. Okay, there we go. And that would be it. There's the 426 Daisy power line.